you will get to learn in this workshop, that is a monitoring service called a Nagios. So Nagios is something, a monitoring tool, okay, to monitor anything in the Linux, your server, your server's services, just like your CPU, your RAM, your disk monitoring, process monitorings, your website's SSL, or your database, or many things are there. You can actually monitor with the Nagios. So it is an open source software. Everyone can server where we can actually uh, set the monitoring of any server. Like one server we need for a Nagios setup, and remaining servers of your Linux, like let's say you have your e-commerce website. So whatever servers you have, you can actually monitor all those servers in a single Nagios dashboard. So it has a centralized monitoring web dashboard. You can see the things on the dashboard. Like if you have hundreds of services, if you have more like configured, so all those hundreds of services you can actually monitor from a single web dashboard. This is a benefit. Okay, every time you can't go in the server and check what is the CPU, what is the RAM, what is the what processes are running. Okay, like if you have a 15 or 20 servers, if you have like you, it's not a good practice to go and check. So we have these monitoring tools. Okay, so we can monitor host, we can monitor the services of that host. We can like it is happening with the plugins. Okay, like we have to install the plugin. So we have two things. First thing, Nagios server, like a server where we are actually deploying the Nagios, and the second server will be a remote server to whom we are actually monitoring all our Nagios. So two servers will be there. From the first server of Nagios, we are monitoring the second server using the plugin called NRPE. Okay, so these things we are actually going to see. This is a small architecture, you can say, Nagios server and the host or a server, like another server to which we are actually monitoring from Nagios. So let's say we have a hundred of servers. We can actually monitor all those hundreds of servers in a single Nagios server and monitor 500 services. Let's say servers, five service, like every servers, five services: CPU, RAM, processes, anything, databases, or anything else. Okay. So single server, single web dashboard, you can monitor multiple things, or you can say hundreds of things. Okay. So this is a small architecture. So we'll actually show you these things. Okay. So I would like to welcome one of my colleague, Tushar. So he will show you how exactly the things are there with the Nagios. Okay. And how you can install the plugin, how you can configure any service. Okay.
Okay, so I think now screen is visible. So basically, we will today monitor the one Linux server, okay, which is the Ubuntu one with the NRP agent. And this basically architecture is like, suppose you have a Nagios server, okay. So this is the centralized place where you can pull the all the alerts. Like here you can see, okay. So Nagios basically used to, suppose this is the particular host 192.168.1.12, okay. So these are used to check the current user's load, processes, root partition. Okay. So you can integrate multiple alerts. Okay. These are the different services. Now, so basically I will first of all introduce you the architecture. So here I made the setup on my base machine where we have KVM as the virtualization. Okay. And wherein we provided one server, which is Linux agent. Okay. So basically the name is agent, but this is the server, IPA. So basically we will keep something in mind. So 89 is ending, means this is the Nagios server. Okay. Simply here is also name set. Okay. So this server is used for the Nagios. Okay. So I have done with the complete installation of the Nagios. Okay. So I will first of all share that screen where the Nagios server is there. So Okay, now this terminal is visible to you. So basically, this is the Nagios server, okay, with the IP ending with 89. Okay, now here is the service you can see with the systemctl status Nagios. Okay, so Nagios service is basically running. Okay, we done with the installation of Nagios on the server. Okay, now we will find the insight of the how we pull the alert from the particular server. Okay, now apart from that, I will take one more screen. Okay, so basically this is the node 1 machine, okay, which is the host one, and we want to monitor the alerts from this node 1 machine. Okay, now currently I will show you some. There is the uptime. Okay, uptime command shows the load average. Okay, so basically we have device configured, okay, which have uptime. So I will share my screen. That screen. I think it's okay now. Visual. So this is the Nagios UI. Okay, you will get the Nagios UI like this. So this is basically Nagios Core. Okay, so this is the server 192.168.1.12, and this is the backend of the same server, which is node 1. With the IP, you can see the IP. Okay, that is the IP of the particular server. With the uptime, we will get here the uptime of the server, which will tell us that from how many times this machine is up, the load average and all these things. Okay, the similar things we can see here on the our dashboard. Okay, so basically load average, okay, 0.05, 0.01, 00. Basically this is set with the some type of warnings. Okay, suppose there are some type of alerts like okay, warning, critical and unknown. Okay, so basically okay means whatever we set that we want. Suppose I want 4 user. If there are 4 user on server, then the state is okay. Okay, now if there are 10 user on the server, then I will make that as a warning. If there are 15 user on the server, I will make this a critical. So accordingly, when the user get login on the server, the alert will get changed. Okay, so we will see how these alerts are configured. Okay, so now first of all, you can see here the up screen. You can see is the one where the actual configuration done. Okay, so now we will see first alert. Okay, which is current user. Okay, so how I set up this alert and how I done the monitoring. Okay, we will take one simple example. Okay, likewise you can understand all of the remaining. Okay, so basically first of all, if you want to monitor particular machine, suppose here is the node 1 is my machine I want to monitor. Okay, so how this Nagios works? Nagios basically have a public IP. It is on the one centralized location, okay, which should be accessible to the remaining agent server. Okay, so node 1 is the Linux machine. Okay, how we can understand? etc os-release. Okay, machine is Ubuntu 24.04 long-term support. Okay, so basically if we go here, we can see the some official documentation of the our Nagios. Okay, so what it suggests, you can monitor your Linux machine with the NRP agent. Okay, apart from that, you can monitor with the SNMP also, SNMP polling, SNMP trap. Okay, apart from that, you can use the NCP also, which is the modern method. So we will go one by one. First of all, today we will learn about the NRP one. Okay, for the NRP installation, here are some steps. Okay, so I will explain in simple way because I already installed with the that NRP plugin. Okay, so first of all, what this tells, you have to go to the temp directory. Okay, after that you have to download the carbon. Okay, where the NRP agent presents. Okay, after that you have to untar. Okay, untar means it will convert it into a simple specific folder. Okay, now you can cd into that tar. I will show that. Okay, here I previously downloaded. Okay, you can see the time also. today only I'm done with this. Okay, so basically the time may be issue. Okay, so basically it's clear that you have this tarball. Okay, we downloaded using the wget command. For the downloading, we will use the wget command and the URL. Now, after that, we untar, we get this type of folder. Okay, so let's switch to the particular folder. Okay, in this folder, you have one script. This is the script full install.sh. Okay, you will see that script in the same path. Okay, here I can identify. If you do the installation at the end you will get one allow IP option. Okay, what is this allow IP option? Means interactively you will ask that the allow IP, which IP you want to allow. So basically the allow IP is the IP of your Nagios server. Okay, means this is the permission which this Nagios agent is assigning to the particular server for polling the metrics. Okay, now what are the things that we get from this NRP plugin? Okay, so basically I will show the service, which service is behind after the installation of that plugin. So systemctl status xi and etd. Okay, so this service is there. Okay, there are some error, you can ignore this for me. Okay, service is in active state. So which port basically this service use? We will also check that. So for checking netstat -n tplu 5666. Okay, this is the service xi and etd. Similarly, you can see here also the same service name xi and etd. Expose on the port 5666. It is listening, correct? Let's check whether we can connect from the Nagios server to this server. Okay, for that what we will do? Telnet. Okay, so I need to know about the IP of this particular server, which is the agent. Okay. So IP a command you can use. Here is the IP 192.168.1.12. I will put that IP here. What is the port? Listening 5666. Telnet. It is connected. You can see connected to this. What is the meaning of that? The meaning is you can communicate, okay, over the port 5666. Now, this connectivity you should establish. Okay, any mean, suppose you have firewall on your server. Okay, node 1 is our agent. If we want to expose this 5666 port to the outside world, we need to make the rule in our firewall if we have firewall on our server. Okay, so after what I tell you, at the end you should able to tell it. That means you have a connectivity. Now we have the connectivity, everything is perfect. Now, so installation of the agent, we will share that documentation, which will easily able to, you can easily make the installation of the Nagios. Okay, so one more thing I told you that this will allow the particular Nagios server. Okay, means if the NRP agent is installed. Okay, so this is not like the case that every Nagios server can pull the matrix X from this particular agent. No. So we need to allow particular IP. Okay, then and then only this Nagios server can able to pick the matrices. Okay, now so we will see that also. So etc xi_etd.d nrp. Okay, so this is the file. Okay, basically this is the file where you allow your Nagios server IP. Here I put entire CIDR. Okay, 192.168.0.0/16. Okay, from same network I have IP of my Nagios server. This is the case. You can means this Nagios server can able to pull the matrices from this agent. Okay, so specifically if we want to allow only this server, which server? 192.168.122.89 to pull the matrix. So we can specify like that. Okay. You can specify multiple servers by putting the space in between them. Okay, so I am saving this. Okay, I am making the rule strict. Only this Nagios server can able to pull the matrices. So I saved. Okay, so you know that, many of you know that after editing the configuration file, we need to restart something. Okay, so here is the service restarted. Okay, now the configuration changes is happen. Okay, now the part of the agent where whatever the agent we want to monitor, means whatever the server we want to monitor, so everything set up with the NRP is like that only. Okay, so apart from that, we have some more things like which alert we want, so that we also want to configure. Okay, so for that, what I will do, I will show you some file. Locate nrp.cfg. Okay, this is the file. This is basically file which is used for putting the configuration. Okay, so I show you in the front end. Okay, you can see here the front end. Here there are some alerts: current user, load, processes, and root partition. Okay, so these are the alerts set here only. Okay, check users, check load, check disk, and check processes. Okay, so these are the alert we set. Okay, so I will basically explain this part also. Okay, so basically, what are these things? Okay, this what is the meaning and how to understand this thing. So basically, this is the file of our Nagios NRP agent where we configure different alerts. Okay, now, so this is used for defining the command. Okay, whatever command you define on your Nagios server, that name should be exactly here. Okay, and what is this? This is the check command, or we can say plugin. Okay, it is like a scripts which run on the this particular server, agent server. And W5C10 means if users are 5, okay, then it will produce the warning alert. If users are 10, it will give the critical alert. Okay, that is the thing. Okay, so one more question is that only 4 we can observe or 4 we can monitor? No, I will show you what are the plugins and where they are. Okay, so this is the place you can see there are lots of plugins. When you install this NRP plugin, you get all these things apart from the configuration file I show you. Okay, so these are the all ready-made plugins. Okay, so one more question: is only possible to work with this plugins provided by the NRP? No, we can create our custom plugins also. Okay, means in some scenarios, what happens? There are restriction to allow particular Nagios server to poll the matrices. Okay, means only one server there in our public facing. Okay, like a proxy server, and the rest of the server in entire environment is behind the proxy server. Means they are not exposed to the external world. Okay, in that case, what we will do, we will create the custom plugins. Okay, but how this works? This basically works in ways such that it will use the SSH communication. Okay, from the proxy server, all the server will get connected with the SSH communication, and it will pick the matrices. Okay, so it will keep the environment like safe one. Okay, rest of the DB server are not exposed to the external world. Okay, so basically this is the one overview of the how is the plugins. What are the plugins? Okay, basically we have here the plugins that we mentioned. Okay. I'm just picking the file. You can see that check underscore user. Okay, you can see in the same place you will get check underscore u star. Okay, check underscore user plugin is there. Okay, and that is working. So next thing is how I can understand that this plugins is actually executing and working. Okay, means I put the configuration, I put the this lines in the configuration file. Okay, but I want to know whether this is working or not working. Okay, so what we will do, I will coming out from this. Simply, I am doing the cat. Okay, now this is just like a script I told you. Okay, and this -w5 -c10, these are the argument which pass to the particular script. Okay, you can see users okay 5 user currently login in particular server. Okay, now with the w there we can see 2 users. Okay, let's check on the server side. Current user, here we can see 4 user. Okay, why this data is some change? Okay, why there is a change in data? because this Nagios server is hitting our agent at a particular interval of time. Okay, that's why it is taking time. It will update data. Okay, it's about 5 minutes of duration. Each 5 minutes, it will go to the server and check and update the status. Okay, so 5 minutes is sufficient. Means suppose if we understand if anything goes critical. Okay, if anything goes critical and if we inform to the client within the 10 minutes, so it is also okay. There is no issue. So within 5 minutes, your server will check the particular device, suppose it is a network switch, it is a firewall, suppose it is a Linux device, okay, or any network device, it will pick the matrices within the 5 minutes and we can update to the client within the 10 minutes. So it is okay, no issue. Okay, so basically, what you understand here, if you run particular plugin, you will get some output. Okay, the same is run by the Nagios. Okay, but it is running from his end. So we will soon understand how this is working. Okay, now we will take second one also. Okay, so here there are the processes. We are running this directly. How many processes? 403 processes are running. Okay, there might be some difference here also. Warning 164 processes. So we can have your option. Like suppose we are in the host. Okay, in the host we can see all the services. Okay, inside a particular services we have option reschedule the next check of the service. So it will forcefully hit the server and ask give me the next execution of the script. Okay, so basically this is the way from means Nagios works. Okay, so these NRP plugins basically have this type of plugins which execute on the particular remote server. Okay, now we will jump to the Nagios side. How this Nagios side is. So basically here we have some concepts. Okay, so what are they? We will go to the UI of that Nagios. Okay, so here, so we have something called host. We have something called services. Okay, and host group. Okay, so we will today understand that what is this and what is the use of that. Okay, now host server is called the host. Okay, if you want to monitor a particular host, you have the list. Means suppose you click here, there may be thousands of devices here. Okay. So here you have the option like show the first 1,000 devices. Okay. This is the one thing. Now here is the services. Means whatever server you have, okay, the same server example we are taking. So for that we have these services. Okay, these are the services. Okay, in the services section we can see. Okay, now how to proceed ahead to configure particular host. Okay, so first of all, the sequence is we have to define the host. Okay, then we have to define the services. Then we have to define the commands. Okay, these are the three basic and important things. Now, how to define that? And what are the basically configuration file which is used for that? So, objects. Let me check that configuration file. Yes, this is the one, but Control A, CD, Control E, and etc. Okay, we know etc is basically in our Linux. Means basic Linux, we have multiple configuration file in the Linux. Okay, in the etc folder. So similarly here for the Nagios, it keeps its etc files and folders all things in the etc, but inside the user local Nagios file. Okay, it have its own etc file. Now here we can see with the listing there are some files. Okay, so nagios.cfg is the main configuration file. Okay, so first of all I will open that file. We will close that agent one for now. Okay, this is the configuration file. Commands.cfg. CFG. Okay, this is the file used to define the command. Okay, if you want to define either service file, host file, okay, or command file, you can use this parameter cfg underscore file equal to, and you can mention the path. Okay, let's check something more. Suppose I am considering this is the my command file, command.cfg file where I will define my command. Now I am checking the permissions. So what are more necessary parts? So here we can see that ownership and group should be Nagios. Means suppose if you are creating any custom command file, okay, so you have to ensure that it should have Nagios user and Nagios group, okay, and have these permissions. So then only it will work. Okay, otherwise it will get the error. Okay, like you will get unknown or any another error. Okay, so there are different kinds of error you can understand. So these are the prerequisite. Now suppose I want to know the more files, which are the files which is useful. So I will grab the files that is needed. So here is the one command.cfg file. So it is commands.cfg, I think. CFG underscore file. Okay. Then service.cfg. So there are lots of services. Right? Okay. So one more is method. There we had one parameter common, which is objects. Okay. In the same folder, there we have the same files. Okay. This I want to tell you that first of all, everything is defined in the nagios.cfg file. Okay. And after that, if any file is mentioned in the nagios.cfg, then it can override the nagios.cfg file. Okay, so there are separate files we have, which is localhost.cfg file, command.cfg file. Okay, so in the localhost.cfg file, I think services is also defined. Okay, host group is also defined, and in the command.cfg file, command is defined. Okay, so how actually the workflow is, that I will explain. Now, here you can understand that we have to define the first of all host, then we have to define the services, then we have to define the command. Okay, you can add any of the host into particular host group so that particular person directly understand what are the host he want to monitor. Okay. In the company, basically what happen, there are the host group, okay, and that host group is assigned to a particular person, and he will monitor that host only. So this is the responsibility for particular person. Now, so here first of all we see how to proceed with one by one things. Okay, so we will simply take the example of first alert only, which is current users. Okay, how I set up this. Basically, first part I define the file into nagios.cfg file. I show you. Okay, after that, just we will enter into the localhost.cfg file. Okay, what I do here by default, you can see why the localhost.cfg file. Okay, reason behind that is here you can see one more host. Okay, this is the self host, means Nagios machine itself is local host. Okay, and automatically when I created this system, the local host is automatically get monitored. Okay, that's why the file associated with it is already there. So I use the same template. Okay, so basically current load, current user, HTTP, ping, root partition, SSH, and total processes alert are for the local host. So I will show you the same one. Here is the configuration file. Okay, so when we go on the top, okay, here you can see some of the things which is define host. So basically the syntax is define, after define you have host, you have service, you have host group. Okay, in this place. Okay, this is for the defining of the different parameters of the Nagios. Now, after that, this is used for the Linux server. Okay, these are the extra spaces. Okay, anyhow, I can delete that also, no problem. Now, what is the host name? Localhost. Okay, so this is defined for the our localhost. That's why this is we can see. Now, in the same file, they mention also the services also. So this is the pattern to mention. Okay, if you want to monitor any another host, what you will do? Simply you will copy that template. Okay, yank, go down, simply change your hostname what you want. Okay, here you can change and you can. Okay, so I am again making undo. Okay, it's work. So basically, this is the idea behind defining the host. Okay, if you define host here, you will get the that host section in the Nagios. Okay, now what we will do, we will see next word, which is host group. Okay, so what I did, I make both the host, that is the local host and the host which is 192.168.1.12 as a part of the our host group. Okay, what is the name? Linux dash server. So where I can see this host group. Okay, this is one Linux server, correct? This is the Linux server, and we have two machines in it, local host, and this is 192.168.1.12. Okay, let's check whether that is true or not. What we will do, we will simply remove one. I don't want this. Okay. Now, after editing the any particular file, like a local host, where the host and services are defined, apart from that, the command file, if you change any file for the checking errors or the checking syntax, you have one command. Okay. User local Nagios. Okay, basically the Nagios is the command and -v verbose the configuration file. Which configuration file? The actual one, which we see at very start. So what it will do, it will check the entire configuration file. If there is any error, it will produce the error. Okay. Total warning 0, total error is 0. So before doing restart to the Nagios server, first of all, you should check this configuration is okay or not. Otherwise, if you restart directly, entire Nagios server will goes down. Okay, and whatever the host you have on that particular server is not under your observation. Is all the server will get down. After that, what I can do, I will restart the Nagios service. Simple command systemctl restart Nagios.service. Okay, now let's check whether the things are reflecting or not. You can see here only local host is appearing now. Now you don't have 192.168.1.12 machine. Okay, so you understand how to make the change, how to add particular hosting to the host group. Now again going to the same place, I am reverting the changes. Okay, basically you have to simply put the comma separated. You can mention the multiple host. 68.1.12. Okay, this is the part. I am just coming from the top going to the down. Okay, now this is the service definition. Okay, these are basically all the definition: host group definition, host definition, service definition. Likewise, we have the command definition also, which is there in the another file. Okay, so now this is for the local host. So as of now, what I did, I configured manually the second one. So we will jump to the next one. Here is the remote host. I simply made the one section. Below that, all the services that are related to the our remote host is there. Okay, now here I define my host. Okay, let's try with one more workaround. Suppose I put here my IP host name. So we will check where this actually appearing. Okay, remote dash server. I will show you. This is not actually the way you should change. Okay, what happened? I will show you. Linux remote server. Okay, basically whatever host you define is basically used in the below services. Okay, here you can see the section. Okay, now I will see the magic. Show you the magic of that command. -v. You are getting the errors. Means everything is not proper. Before you see, sometime before, you have total warning and total error 0. But here, what you have, you don't have that things. Okay. So what it is saying, could not find any host matching to this. Why? We change the name. Okay. Simply I am coming inside. Okay. So now here is, suppose you have hundreds of alert configured for the particular host. And if you want to change the host name, so you can't change one by one. Okay. So what I am doing, I will show you one more message. 192.168.1.12/. What is the name we put? Name we put is Linux dash server. So let me check again. Remote server. Okay, remote server is the name I am using. Escape shift colon percentage s slash 192.168.1.12 slash and g. Okay, in the entire file, where is the that IP or that server name is get replaced with the remote server. Okay, means according to my observation, in the host group, first of all, in the host group, it gets changed in the host and in the service definition. Okay, so here you have define host. You can go up. Okay, you can go up. Recently, we also defined that host group. Host group is here. Okay, you can see we previously put here IP, but that also get changed. Means globally in entire file, we change the IP with the remote dash server. Okay, now going to the next part. Okay, this is where looking into now. So let's check with the now we are corrected with the all the part. Okay. Now we are again checking the configuration. Total warning 0, total error 0. Okay, I will show you one more observation. Like if there are some warnings, so it is manageable. Okay. But if there are errors, so your service will get fail. Directly service will get fail. So if you have any error, don't restart the service. Okay, first of all, fix the whatever the problem you have, and then only restart the service. Otherwise, entire Nagios server will go down. Now we're done with the changes on the our configuration file for the changing the name of the particular host. Now I am restarting the service, restarting the Nagios service. Nagios service is restarted. Let's check what is happening in the front end. Okay, you can see here the name is changed with remote dash server. Is that file is where we define our name in the host section. The same name is appearing here. Okay, let's check why this is in another color. You can see the check is pending. It is checking. Check is the pending state. Why? Because it will take some time to pull the matrices. Okay, so till that it is updating whatever the part we have. So we will wait. Okay. Okay, so you can see current user section is now okay. Okay, means one by one all the check will pass. It depending on the server condition, it will tell whether it is in okay state. What are the state? Okay state. Okay, one state is okay, another is critical, another is warning. Okay, I will tell you that if there is a state which is called okay, there is no issue, everything is running fine. If the state is warning, means it will have some issue, but it can be done after some time. If the thing is critical, you need to take the immediate action. Okay, if the particular thing is unknown means where the particular service you're trying to check is not available. That's why it is coming as an unknown. These are the actually 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, four parts, four states of the which Nagios can tell you. Okay, so after that it will come one by one. Okay, so what we will do, suppose there we can see there are login currently 4 users. Okay, so what we can do, we will check what is the critical thing for it. Okay, so where we will get it. Okay, so first of all, I think we go with the host group services, and we need to go for the commands also. So we will go there. Okay. Command.cfg. Okay, for the same service, I will show you the what is command that is getting in use. Check user. Okay, so this is the defined command. Okay, so here I defined the remote host command. Okay, so in place of host services, here is now command. Okay, now what is the command name? Check user. This is the command name. Okay, the same name should be on your remote server within that block of the check user part. Okay, now I will show you the check underscore user same is there in the services also. Here you can see check user command name. Check command is check user. Okay. And if you go in the command file, what we can see here is check user means same name. Command name is same. Means any command matching to this name should execute this. Warning is 5, critical is 10. Okay. So that is the thing. Now we will observe. Load is again getting updated here. Current user is okay and it is 4. Here you can see the actual what are the user means parameter you can see. So 4 users are there. This is Nagios server. This is Nagios client. Okay. So what I will do, I will log in from the multiple session. Okay, let me check our host is up or down. You can see here host is down. Check ping, invalid hostname address, remote server. Okay, so why this happens? In the command file, check an IP host address. Yes. Okay, we see that part. The part is with the remote server in change in the our localhost file, we can able to change the name here. Okay, so this is the reflection. So let's check again. It's changing the description. Yes. And coming out from the file. Localhost. I cannot able to see what is in the downside. Okay. Percentage /. Check through. That is now being defined. Remote test server. Okay, we will change from going inside the file. So it will get changed. See, almost at every place it is now replaced with the previous one. So we will again check for this the configuration is okay or not. Okay, let me relog in into the same screen. So there are no errors, no warnings. We can restart the Nagios. The status is also okay. No problem there. So it is up now. Okay. These are the services which is pending state. So now we are where we are. We are on the command. We are on the command.cfg file. Okay. So in the same file, there is something called check users. Okay. Here in the command line, we have this particular thing: warning on the 5, critical on the 10. Okay. So how to define the same on our agent? Okay. So basically, this is not only the thing. Suppose we what we can say we define here is not only sufficient. Okay, what we want to do is we want to do the same thing onto our client also. So in the nrp.cfg file. Okay, so same is defined here. You can see the same thing, check underscore user, check load. Same thing is defined here. Means these Nagios will hit here. Means it will understand with this check user and run the respective command. With the running respective command, we will get the statistics here.